And respected man, sir. I'm Chalaka Gurade and would like to speak on a very important topic, save water. Save water today on this session. As we all know that how the water is important for the continuation of life on the earth. It is the most basic needs of everyone like human beings, animals, plants and microorganisms. Water is the unique source of life. Without water, we cannot imagine the life we live. Life on this planet is not possible just because of the absence of water. It is considered as the most important among other known celestial bodies. Almost 3/4 area of the earth is covered by the water and it's around 60 to 70%. It's around 60 to 70% of the world. It seems that water is endless renewable source on the earth because it is regenerated and redistributed all over. Redistributed all over the earth through evaporation and rain. It raises a question in our mind that if water is a renewable source, then why we should worry for water and try to conserve it. Actually, there is only 1% of water on earth which is usable to us, and other water bodies have unusable water to us, such as 97% salty sea water. 2% of water is in a form of glaciers. Only 1% of water is here for us, in which a huge population all over the world is dependent for the survival. There is more possible in the lack of water than the lack of food. Here are some tips which really help us to save the water. Save water. Everyone should be aware of the water shortage, rules and restrictions and strictly follow their own areas. There should be water conservation awareness and tips for every starter in the orientation manual and training program at school, colleges, workplace, offices, institutions. Water conservation techniques should be promoted on every news channels, TVs, radios, banners and etc. People should be more active in their areas to report to the owner, water management of district if any problems related to water loss through broken pipes. It should be promoted at tourism levels so that tourists and visitors can be aware of and understand the needs of water conservation. As being an educated citizen, we should encourage all our friends and neighbors to join the water conscious community. Everyone should make a task related to water saving and try to complete by the end of the day. Thank you.
Vari here, and following is a transcript of the address given by Indra Nugent, President and CFO of PepsiCo at the Columbia University Business School graduation ceremonies on 15th May. Good evening everyone. Dean Howard, distinguished faculty, honored graduates, relief parents, family and friends. It's a distinct pleasure to be in New York City this evening to celebrate the biggest milestone to date in the lives of the young men and women before us, your graduation from Columbia University Business School. It may surprise you, graduates, but as a big night, as this is for you, it's an even bigger night for your parents. They may look calm and collected as they sit in the audience, but deep inside, they are doing cartwheels, dancing the Macarena, and practically speaking in tongues. They are so excited. This is what happens when parents anticipate that their bank accounts will soon rehydrate after being bone dry for 2 years. So for everyone here this evening, it's a very special occasion and I'm delighted to share it with you. I'm keenly aware that graduates traditionally refer to our time together this evening as the calm before the storm. Some graduates, perhaps those who minored in self-awareness, refer to the commencement address as the snooze before the booze. However, you described my comments this evening. Please know that I understand. It wasn't that long ago that I was in your place, and I remember that day well. I knew that I owed my parents, my financial benefactors, the opportunity to revel in our mutual accomplishment. Yet as the guy at the podium droned on about values, goals, and how to make my dreams take flight. I remember desperately checking and rechecking my watch. I thought I deserved to party at the scorchers cramping my style. In one's life, true ironies. I am now that courtier. Well, I'm the female equivalent. A courgette, I guess. And I now understand that values, goals, and how to make dreams take flight really are important. So being a firm believer that Hinset is one of the life's greatest teachers, allow me to take my belated amends. To that distinguished, knowledgeable, and absolutely brilliant man, whom I silently dissed many years ago, me culpa, big me culpa. This evening, graduates, I want to share a few thoughts about a topic that should be near and dear to your hearts, the world of global business. But I'm going to represent this topic in a way that you probably haven't considered before. I'm going to take a look at how the United States is often perceived in global business, what causes this perception, and what we can do about it. To help me, I'm going to make use of a model. To begin, I'd like you to consider your hand. That's right, your hand. Other than the fact that mine desperately needs a manicure, it's a pretty typical hand. But what I want you to notice in particular is that 5 fingers are not the same. One is short and thick, one tiny, and the other 3 are different as well. And yet, as in perhaps no other part of our bodies, the fingers work in harmony, without us even thinking about them individually. Whether we attempt to grasp a dime on a slick marble surface, a child's arm as we cross the street, or a financial report, we don't consciously say, okay, move these fingers here, raise this one, turn this one under, now clamp together. Got it. We just think about what we want to do and it happens. Our fingers, as different as they are, coexist to create a critically important whole. This unique way of looking at my hand was just one result of hot summer evenings in my childhood home in Madras, India. My sister, mother and I would sit in the kitchen table for lack of a better phrase, think big thoughts. One of those thoughts was the difference in our fingers and how, despite their differences, they work together to create a wonderful tool. As I grew up, I started to study geography. I remember being told that the 5 fingers can be thought as the 5 major continents: Europe, Asia, Africa, North and South America. Now let me issue a profound apology to both Australia and Antarctica. I bear neither of these continents any ill will. It's just that we humans have only 5 fingers on each hand, so my analogy doesn't work with the 7 continents. Clearly the point of my story is more important than geographical accuracy. First, let's consider our little finger. Think of this finger as Africa. Africa is a little finger not because of its size, but because of its place on the world stage. From an economic standpoint, Africa has yet to catch up with her sister continents. And yet, when our little finger hurts, it affects the whole hand. Our thumb is Asia, strong, powerful and ready to assert herself as a major player on the world's economic stage. Our index finger or pointer finger is Europe. Europe is the cradle of democracy and pointed the way for Western civilization and the laws we use in conducting global business. The ring finger is South America, including Latin America. Is this appropriate or what? The ring finger symbolizes love and commitment to another person. Both Latin and South America are hot, passionate and filled with the sensuous wheels of mambo, samba and tango. 3 dances that have done right can almost guarantee you and your partner will be buying furniture together. This analogy of 5 fingers as the 5 major continents leaves the long middle finger for North America and in particular the United States. As the longest of the fingers, it really stands out. The middle finger anchors every function that the hand performs and is the key to all the fingers working together efficiently and effectively. This is a really good thing and has given the US a leg up in global business since the end of World War I. However, if used inappropriately, just like the US itself, the middle finger can convey a negative message and get us in trouble. You know what I'm talking about. In fact, I suspect you're hoping I'll demonstrate what I mean, and trust me, I'm not looking for any volunteers to model. Discretion being the better part of valor, discretion being the better part of valor. I think I'll pass. What is most crucial to my analogy of the five fingers as the five major continents is that each of us in the US, the long middle finger, must be careful that when we extend our arm, in either a business or political sense, we take pains to ensure that we are giving a hand, and not a finger. Sometimes this is very difficult because the US, the middle finger, sticks out too much. We can send the wrong message unintentionally. Unfortunately, I think this is how the rest of the world looks at the US right now. Not as a part of the hand giving strength and purpose to the rest of the fingers, but instead scratching a nose and sending a far different signal. I challenge each of you to think about how critically important it is for every finger on your hand to rise and bend together. You can simply not allow the other four fingers to rise only when you want them to. If you have ever even tried to do that, you know how clumsy and uncoordinated it is. My point here is not enough to just understand that the fingers coexist. We've got to consciously and actively ensure that every one of them stands tall together or that they bend together when needed. Today, as each of you ends one chapter in your lives and begins another, I want you to consider how you will conduct your business career so that the continents see you're extending a hand and not the finger. Graduates, it's not that hard. You can change and shape the attitudes and opinions of other fingers, the other continents and their people by simply ascribing positive intent to all your international business transactions. If you fail or if you are careless, there's a perfect example of what can happen. A US businesswoman was recently in Beijing, China, on an international training assignment for a luxury hotel chain. The chain was rebranding an older Beijing hotel. As such, the toilets in the hotel had yet to be upgraded. There were no porcelain commodes, just holes in the floor. Until recently, this was a standard procedure in China. Now, 8,000 miles removed from the scene, and I and most Americans can shake our heads and giggle at the physical contortions and delicate motor skills necessary to make the best of the situation. We are simply not used to it. But to loudly and insultingly verbalize these feelings on site in front of the employees and guests of the host country is a bush league. And yet, that's exactly what this woman observed. In the hotel's bar, the woman overheard a group of 5 American businessmen loudly making fun of the hotel's laboratory facilities as the drinks flowed. The crass and vulgar comments grew louder and actually took on an angry tone. While these Americans couldn't speak a word of Chinese, their Chinese host spoke English very well and understood every word that the men were saying. And we wonder why the world views many Americans as boorish and cruelly insensitive. The incident should make it abundantly clear. These men were not giving China a hand. They were simply giving China the finger. This finger was red, white and blue and had the United States stamped all over it. Graduates, it pains me greatly that this view of America persists. Although I am a daughter of India, I am an American businesswoman. My family and I are citizens of this great country. This land we all home is most loving and an ever-giving nation. A promised land that we love dearly in return. And it represents a true force that if used for good can steady the hand along with global economies and cultures. Yet to see us stub our fingers, our international business and political stage is deeply troubling. Truth be told, the behaviors of a few sully the perception for all of us. And we know how often perception is mistaken for reality. We can do better. We should do better. With your help, with your empathy, with your positive intent as representatives of the US in global business, we will do better. Now, as never before, it's important that we give the world a hand and not the finger. In conclusion, graduates, I want to return my introductory comments this evening. I observe that as big a night that this is for you, it's an even bigger night for your parents. I ascribe their happiness to looking forward to a few more George Washingtons, in their bank accounts. While this is certainly true, there's another reason. Each of your parents believes that their hard work has finally paid off. They believe that maybe, just maybe, they have raised and nurtured the next Jack Welch, Meg Whitman, or Rousseau. Don't disappoint them, don't disappoint your companies, and don't disappoint yourselves. As you begin your business careers and as you travel throughout the world to assure America's continued global economic leadership, remember your hand and remember to do your part to influence perception. Remember that the middle finger, the United States, always stands out. If you're smart, if you exhibit emotional intelligence as well as academic intelligence, if you ascribe positive intent to all your actions on the international business stage, this can be a great advantage. But if you aren't careful, if you stomp around in a tone-deaf form, like the ignoramus in Beijing, it will also get you in trouble. And when it does, you will have only yourself to blame. Graduates, as you aggressively compete on the international business stage, understand that the 5 major continents and their people, the 5 fingers of your hand, each have their own strengths and each have their own contributions to make. Just as each of your 5 fingers must coexist to create a particularly important tool, each of the 5 major continents must also coexist to create a world in balance. You as an American business person will either contribute to or take away from this balance. So remember, when you extend your arm to your colleagues and peoples from other countries, make sure you're giving the hand and not the finger. You will help your country, your company and yourself more than you will ever know. Thank you.